It's a Taste to Consider podcast. I'm your host, Derek Silver, and we are back for another episode. Yes, indeed, we are back for another episode. I just got finished taping, recording another Taste Review Drink Edition. Got a new one for you. So make sure you go check it out if you haven't already. By the time you see this, you should have checked it out already. But if you haven't, make sure you check it out. I'm back for another episode. Yes, I'm back. I don't mean to sound like I'm, don't want to be back. Because I'm definitely happy to be back. I'm back. I did do a little, I had some topics on the outline, but honestly, I did those topics during the July 4th weekend. Oh, no, did I do it last week? I don't know, man. This year has been going by so damn fast. This year is really going by super fast. So I don't know if I did it July 4th weekend. I knew I wasn't going to record then because July 4th weekend was on the, the holiday was on the weekend. So I wasn't going to record, but I did put an outline together, some topics and stuff, and I planned on recording last week the podcast. I planned on recording the podcast last week, but I didn't. I did do the Taste Reviews Drink Edition. I ended up reviewing Sir Davis, Beyonce's Rye Whiskey on that episode. So make sure you check it out if you haven't already checked it out. Shout out to the new subscribers. Shout out to the people who have donated to the show. The Taste Reviews Drink Edition show, financially and bottles wise. I appreciate you. Bring the suggestions, all that good stuff, I appreciate that. So yeah, we back for another episode. Let me just go ahead and get started because it is getting kind of late on my end, and I want to have some good time to myself before I rest for the day. So let me just jump right into it, and like I said, I had topics on the outline and stuff like that, but I didn't really put an outline and stuff together. So I'm really, just jumping into this episode right here. I wasn't sure if I was going to wait a day or two after I recorded the drink show to actually put an outline together, but I was like, I'm already in the flow. I'm already, here right now, so let me just go ahead and do it before I get to tomorrow or the day after, and I'll be like, man, I don't feel like recording and all this other stuff. So some of the topics, depending on if I get to them or not, might be a little bit behind or whatever. But I do have a little outline together, so I'm gonna try to follow that one to the best of my abilities, and give you a good show, as I always do. I know I do. I know. So, all right. I wanted to start off with this topic right here. July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, so I definitely wanted to, have a, well, I'm always going to have some mental health type stuff on the podcast, period, even if I'm talking about something outside of that. Because, like I said, this is a Taste to Consider podcast. We're going to venture out into all taste. So, let me start right here with this one right here. This is a post, a clip from a licensed therapist. He's on Instagram, Kier, somebody who I follow. He pumps out some good content and stuff, black male, and he actually is in this area. So in my area, the Merlin area. So let me pull up this clip right here.
One of the things that frustrates me so mightily about social media is how this cult of trauma-focused self-victimization and what it's done to our collective resilience capabilities. We are just not as resilient as we could stand to be as a social media content creator. I'm telling you, you want the golden ticket, speak to people's pain, speak to people's misery, and you don't have to have solutions. Just keep spinning it. Use the word narcissist. Blame someone they have conflict with, like a parent or an ex. Don't give people the room for self-reflection. Don't give them the opportunity to think, how am I involved in this? Label everything as victim blaming. Police the tone, pathologize everything they do. We've been spamming the button. The people who they have vilified and turned into enemies are just people with a difference of perspective sometimes that they don't have the tolerance to sit in and adjust to. People have become incredibly self-centered and self-entitled to the point where they think that their reality is the reality, and they don't want to take on a different perspective that makes them challenge their deeply rooted thoughts and beliefs. We're using all this healed language. I'm in my healed era. I'm working on myself, but it's just lip service. We're not doing the work. Please don't conflate talking about the work and how good it feels to talk about the work with doing the work. Because if you talk about healing enough, you feel like you're healing, but you're talking about it. If you aren't having things that are challenging, actively challenging your perspective and helping you reframe your thoughts and helping you interrogate the inner narrative you have about what happened, how it happened, why it happened in a positive and constructive way, then I would argue you're not healing. You're just thinking.
And I thought that clip was like right on time for like just the way social media is right now. Like, and just piggybacking off of the whole clip or whatever. Like, I've said this plenty of times. Like, I look at like, and I always use this as an example, like those women empowerment content creators on social media or whatever. They play to your victimhood. They play to your trauma and stuff like that. So it's never really, you think you being empowered, but you just staying in that constant stream of victimhood and blaming and negativity on whatever it is. And a lot of times, like, this is never really like pointed out with some of these women empowerment content creators. A lot of the crap that they put out there and spew to the women is just for them to get validation of the trauma and the victimhood that they already in. And not to just, I'm not trying to just put this on, women empowerment content creators, because there's a lot of dudes that's out here that's doing the same things, quote unquote red pill type of content and stuff like that. So it's definitely not no one-sided thing. But of course, I'm using that as the woman empowerment stuff as an example because hey, that's usually what I see. That's usually what I see. I see a lot of, feminist stuff, some misandrous stuff, and it's really not people healing. You know what I'm saying? It's just a collective of people, whether it be male or female, just stuck in their victimhood and going back and forth, trading whose trauma or victimhood has been the worst or whatever. And they, thinking that they being empowered, but they really just being more indebted into that victimhood or that trauma that they're used to. Healing really requires work. Healing really requires work. And from my perspective, I'm 43 years old. I've been going to therapy since 30, since I've been 30. So, off and on for like 13 years or whatever. And one thing that I've always been self-aware of was the fact that I needed to be pushed. I needed to be challenged. I needed to be put, I need to step into more situations that produce healing and growth, and even the times that, I'm outside of the going to therapy, I keep the same principles and the tools that have been given to me, and I try to push myself through it. it can be difficult at times, being as though that, I'm solely doing it by myself and I really don't have no support. But every time I've gotten into therapy, I made sure that I told them that I need to be challenged. I need to be pushed because I know the type of environment that I've come from. I know the type of past that I've been come from. I know that I need to build my quote unquote capacity. That has been a word that's been used a lot in the mental health space most recently, capacity. But I look at it, the same way as I look at resilience. I need to build my resilience. I need to build my capacity in these situations. So you got to be very careful with the people that you follow on social media. And like, is this person really challenging me to actually move forward, to build my capacity, to build up my resilience, to build, to grow? Or am I just sitting in the same space, like literally sitting in quicksand and just drowning in victimhood and trauma that I'm familiar with? But shout out to Kier Gaines. He always posts good content, and I thought that was like perfect for um, to start off with for Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. So, like I said, I'm already late. You know what I'm saying? I did this this outline or put topics down a while ago, but I had on my topic list the Diddy trial, and of course we know that he was convicted of two of the charges that he was charged with. So I got a clip from it because I ain't want to just be like spitballing what was going on. And I'm of the mindset that like with today with content creation, like people are just quick to jump on the latest news, and you really gotta wait. But everybody be so quick to jump on it to get their likes, their views and stuff like that. And I'm gonna get back to like that specific point. But here go the clip right here. Oh man. The actual clip, and this is why I always say to people who are doing podcasts and content creation and stuff, make sure you screen record your clips that you get off of social media, because I'm going back to try to find the news, the actual news clip from the actual verdict of Diddy's trial. But I'll just read the headline. The video is gone, but the headline's still up here. It says Diddy found guilty on 2 of the 5 charges in the sex trafficking trial. So the 2 charges that I know that he was guilty of was the prostitution ones, and that was from Cassie and 50 Cent's baby mother. So the other charges that he was up for trial for was the racketeering and the RICO ones. And I'm not surprised about the RICO charges, but I'm a little surprised by the racketeering charges just based off of the information that has been given so far. But one thing I do know about being on a jury and being on a federal case, because I've been on a federal case for a jury, is like you really being on a jury, like you got to take your emotions out of the whole situation, because you really have to just focus on the evidence that is presented to you. And a lot of people can't do that. because majority of the people in the world are reactive. And particularly in America, people are just so reactive. Like they so reactive because we always getting flushed with all this news and this information, propaganda, all that stuff. So I'll say this, like, I'm not a fan of Puffy. I think he's a piece of crap. I think he's a piece of ish. Like, and this is coming, and outside of me being a Tupac fan, like, Puffy is a piece of ish. Like, it boggles my mind that so many people are still following him on social media after they seen the video of him whipping Cassie's ass. No matter how you feel about Cassie's involvement in the freak offs and all that other stuff, she is a victim of domestic violence, and Diddy whipped her ass on that tape. And there's no denying that. And people are still finding ways to blame her despite her being a victim of domestic violence. And I believe July is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But just going back to being on a jury on a federal case, I remember I was on a jury for a federal case, and I'm trying to remember as much as I can. I remember the prosecution, they were trying to convict this this black woman for a crime. She worked at, I believe she worked at like some type of store that was in a government building, and she was responsible for closing that evening, and she was supposed to deposit the money into the credit union that was actually in the federal building, but the money went missing, right? So the prosecution, they went through their case and presented their evidence and all that other stuff. So the prosecution didn't have any type of photograph evidence, no type of video evidence. So they never once was able to prove that this woman didn't go to the night deposit box to the bank that was in the federal building. It was all circumstantial. It was word of mouth. They just said that they were just basically saying, without no pictures, no video evidence, nothing, that she stole the money. So the defense was basically saying, like, she didn't steal the money. That's all they was pretty much saying. The defense was pretty much saying she didn't steal the money. They didn't have to counteract anything with a photo or video because the prosecution didn't present that. And this is similar to the Puffy case. The prosecution did a terrible job. If you look at all the information that the prosecution presented, the prosecution did a terrible job. And mind you, just a couple of days ago, the prosecutor in that trial, she was fired. The DOJ fired her because she didn't get the main convictions of the racketeering and the RICO. I didn't really think they was going to get the RICO. Like the racketeering, yeah, I think they should have been able to get that, but they didn't present a good case. And that's one of the things that people don't understand. If you have never been on a jury, and specifically a federal case, but on a jury period, you got to take your emotions out of it. You have to follow the judge's instructions. You have to follow the law. If there is any reasonable doubt, then the person isn't guilty. The prosecutors didn't do a good job. They didn't. They did a half-assed job on this case. Do I think Puffy was guilty of racketeering? Yes, I probably think he was guilty of racketeering. Prostitution? Of course. RICO? There's reasonable doubt there. Do I think Puffy is a piece of shit? I absolutely think Puffy is a piece of shit. He's an abuser. He whooped that girl. And I will continue to say whooped that girl's ass, Cassie's ass, on that camera. Despite what you think about what Cassie's involvement was, and I ain't even trying to go into all deep into all of that. I'm just focusing on the fact of the law and being on the jury and being on the. I remember when we went back to deliberate for this case. I think the jury was majority white. I think it was probably like 3, maybe 4 black people. Man, I was so frustrated back in that deliberation room because we couldn't come to a consensus of guilty or not guilty. Pretty much majority of from what I'm remembering, majority of the white people that was on that jury wanted to convict her, but they was coming from all emotions, and I also believe they was coming from a racist aspect. They looked at it like she black, she stole the money. I remember being in that room and all those white people just going back and forth and just looking at it like she stole that money. They was really getting in their feelings about this. I was sitting there quiet for most of the time. Excuse me, burp number 1. Burp number 2. But then it started to piss me off when they kept harping on the fact that she stole the money, but they couldn't prove their point on how she stole the money based off of the prosecution's evidence or case. We sent the note to the judge saying that we couldn't come to no agreement. And this was like early in the deliberations. The judge told us, she was a black woman, the judge. She told us, sit there for a little. She was like, nah, y'all got to sit here for a little while longer and y'all got to come up with something. We sat there for a little bit longer. The white people, it was one white woman in particular, a Karen. She was a Karen. She kept going. She was going so hard saying that this black woman was guilty, but there wasn't no evidence to prove this. The judge specifically told us, you have to follow these instructions. You have to follow these instructions on the evidence of this case. And they wasn't doing that. They was just solely emotional in this case. Solely emotional. So eventually, we stayed there for a little while longer. Still couldn't come up with nothing. So we sent another note back to the judge. They brought us out. The black lady wasn't guilty. We went back to the deliberation room. The judge came back there and asked us why. I almost feel like this wasn't even a real case. I felt like it was like a test case because it didn't make no sense how the prosecution didn't have no type of evidence. The prosecution didn't have no pictures. Like, if you ever been to any type of bank, whether it's in a government building or even outside in just the regular streets, you know there's cameras. So why didn't the prosecution didn't have any type of camera evidence for this case? I felt like it was just them just pushing the jury duty stuff out there to us, and we had to do our duties for, our American citizen duties or whatever they want to call it. Because it didn't make no sense that the prosecution didn't have no type of photographs or no type of evidence. They didn't even have no witnesses. We didn't have no witnesses in this case. But the girl was found not guilty because we couldn't come to no verdict. The judge came back there and was asking us why we couldn't come to no verdict. So we was back there saying it, giving our 2 cents on why we couldn't come up with anything. At that point, I was just ready to leave because I just looked at it like those white people was just being racist. And now that I'm thinking about it, shit, some of those people that was on the jury with me could have been just straight actors. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it made no sense that these prosecutors didn't have no evidence. And this goes back to the Puffy trial. They didn't present. It was like they just rushed into this case. Like, you had time to build more evidence to get him found guilty on racketeering charges at least. But they didn't do that. They just felt as though that, they was going to throw all this stuff out there and then Puffy and them was going to plea. But when it came down to a Puffy has the resources, a regular person like myself or whatever, we probably would have pleaded or whatever like that. But knowing me, I wouldn't have pleaded because I'd rather stay in jail for 10 years than admit to something that I'm guilty to. But I'm going to knock on wood so that never happens. But yeah, being on the jury is interesting. I'm waiting for the moment that I can do it again because it definitely was interesting. But yeah, it's just a lot of emotional, reactive people out here that just can't be on no jury. But I most recently saw that Puffy was he's supposed to be getting into rehab or something. He's supposed to be going into rehab. That's supposed to be like a condition of his of whatever. I don't know. Like honestly, I ain't really been trying to follow the case that much because I really don't care about Puffy, honestly. But yeah, I just wanted to give my perspective on the jury aspect because being on the jury, especially in the federal case, is wild. It's definitely wild. But let me move on. Let me see where I'm at. Whew. All right, let me move away from all that stuff. The trial stuff. I came across this clip, right? Across this clip. I do that from time to time. Now, this clip right here, it resonated with me so much in my dealings with just in life. And not to come off conceited, but like this clip is titled "The Dark Side of Being an Attractive Man." And outside of being conceited, because I've never been the person to be conceited, but I know I am an attractive man. But I thought this clip was very interesting. So I'm gonna play it right now.
Dark side of being an attractive man. Everybody think they want to be the man, want to have the juice, want to be him, until they start living.
All right, hold on. Let me start this over. Let me reinsert the iPad piece. Y'all remember last episode I was having some difficulties with the old piece. I bought a new piece. So let me start this over again. The dark side of being an attractive man. This is what the clip is. All right, so let me start this over.
Attractive man. Dark side of being an attractive man. Everybody think they want to be the man, want to have the juice, want to be him, until they start living these 3 parts of their life. And understand, being an attractive man is deeper than being handsome or good looking. It's more so a matter of the way that your internal world is constructed. And that's why number 1 might sound backwards. As an attractive man, you'll get less women. As much as women say that they want these men with strong internal attributes, when you become that attractive man, the internal work that you've done will disqualify a lot of women. You'll see that they don't even allow you energetically. And then on top of that, women will disqualify themselves because getting with you will mean that they have to improve and change who they are. And that's something that a lot of women are not ready to do, if ever. Number 2, you'll create a lot of silent envy. As men, we like to assert our dominance. But as an attractive man, you really don't have to assert anything because your energy goes out in front of you and does it for you. And in the presence of other men who get a last in terms of money that they believe will give them the attention and validation of women, you become a threat to that. And even though they might not say nothing straight up, they'll harbor a lot of secret resentment towards you. Number 3, as an attractive man, you'll be heavily misunderstood just by looks and the way that you carry yourself and assume all kind of stuff about you. They'll call you arrogant, cocky, weird. The whole time, you just a thinker. You just be chilling. You don't expend extra energy trying to convince women or anybody else to be in your space. A lot of people are running with the idea that they have of you versus actually coming to learn the reality of you. And that's why being that man is not all sunshine and rainbows. But as you navigate this journey more and more, you'll become something totally different. And I mean that in the best way possible. And I'm going to break that down in part 2, so y'all follow me there. In the meantime, tell me what you thought about this in the comments, and we'll carry it to the next page.
All right, well, we didn't get to part 2, but just going over, I'm going to play the clip again, right? And I'm going to pause and play. But I thought the clip it resonated with me so much because of not the first reason, the reason 2 and reason 3. And I'm going to get into that. But let me play the clip again, and I'm gonna pause and play because I really thought this was interesting, and it's funny because I've gone through situations a lot of time, and I was like, maybe I'm just tripping, maybe I'm just doing too much, and this ain't real. But to get to hear it from, I've heard it from other places before, but I haven't heard it from men. And I'll get into that in a second. So let me start with the video again. Here we go.
Good man. Everybody think they want to be the man, want to have the juice, want to be him, till they start living these three parts of their life. And understand, being an attractive man is deeper than being handsome or good looking. It's more so a matter of the way that your internal world is constructed. And that's why number one might sound backwards.
He's actually right. The internal world is where a lot of that aura, that confusion, that hate, that mysterious stuff comes from. But here we go. Number one.
As an attractive man, you'll get less women. As much as women say that they want these men with strong internal attributes, when you become that attractive man, the internal work that you've done will disqualify a lot of women. You'll see that they don't even align with you energetically. And then on top of that, women will disqualify themselves because getting with you will mean that they have to improve and change who they are. And that's something that a lot of women are not ready to do, if ever. Number two,
all right. So number one, yeah, I don't get that. I've never experienced that. Me being an attractive man, I've always gotten attention somehow, some way, no matter what. So, like I said, I more resonate so with number two and number three. So number one, yeah, I don't know where he got that from. That sounds more like something that a woman would say about a man being hesitant about hollering at her because he think that, she is above him or something like that. I ain't never heard that on the other side. If a woman thinks a man is attractive, that's just what it is. So yeah, we're gonna move on to 2 and 3.
create a lot of silent envy. As men, we like to assert our dominance. But as an attractive man, you really don't have to assert anything because your energy goes out in front of you and does it for you. And in the presence of other men who get a last in terms of money that they believe will give them the attention and validation of women, you become a threat to that. And even though they might not say nothing straight up, they'll harbor a lot of secret resentment towards you. Number 3.
And number 2, bruh. I think from the age of 18, 19 is when I really started experiencing this silent resentment from other men. It probably was happening before, but I just wasn't really self-aware of it until then. I remember like the first experience that I've had with this situation. I was probably like 18. I just finished high school, right? And my main man, right? This was during the Black Planet days, right? So he was talking to this girl, right? And he wanted to, have more than just talking to her. But she wasn't on the same page. She wasn't looking at him like that, right? So all of a sudden, like, she started to show more interest in me. I knew about her because, he told me, he introduced me to her and all that other stuff like that. So she started to show like a lot of interest in me and stuff like that. And she just came out and asked me, she was like, do you want to hang out one day? I was like, let me holler at my man first and see if that's cool or whatever, because he like you, right? And she didn't respond. So I hollered at him or whatever. He was like, it was cool. So then I went back to her. I was like, yeah, he said it was cool. And yeah, I'm down to hang out or whatever. So I'm young, 18 or whatever. Maybe I interpreted this wrong, but my experience with my boy is that we didn't trip off of things like that. If the girl wasn't feeling you, then she wasn't feeling you. Then it ain't no need to be tripping off of that. You keep it player. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I guess we can meet up, hang out or whatever. Then all of a sudden he hit me up and was like, damn, that's messed up that you did that and all this stuff. So I'm like, what? Nigga, we just had this conversation. Couple days go by or whatever. I'm like, bruh, what the hell is going on? She hit me up again and was like, yeah, he told me to try to holler at you to see how you would respond. I'm like, you for real? And he kept coming from the angle like this my sis, I'm her brother type situation. And this when I first got to that mindset of like when dudes say they a chick's brother or whatever or something like that shit is a lie. That shit is a lie. All it is that they really want to be with the girl, they want to hit, but they can't get there. So they try to keep that brother or that quote unquote friend aspect, similar to that work husband, work wife shit that people be playing, and they waiting for that perfect opportunity to get it off. So I'm like, bruh, I let it slide, you know what I'm saying? We were still cool or whatever. I didn't really get it then. I was still, you know what I'm saying, still young in that time or whatever. So I remember another time, this is with another homeboy, right? It was a small little house party get together or whatever. I was in a relationship and my boy was having a get together at his house and he was inviting women over or whatever. And the crew was all going over there, but I didn't go over there because I was in a relationship. And I remember one of the dudes in the crew, the day after, when I asked him, you know what I'm saying, how it went, how everything go down, this Bama said to me, he was like, this is exactly what he said to me. He was like, I'm glad you didn't come because I wouldn't be able to get the attention that I would have liked if you would have came. I was like, what? So I just brushed it off. I was just like, hey, they ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? This was probably the early 20s, right? Early 20s. So I'm getting a little bit more experience with this situation of this silent resentment, but this wasn't so silent. You know what I'm saying? This came out in front. This man, I ain't never heard I ain't never heard nothing like this before. He said, I'm glad you didn't come. So then that put me on guard right there. That put me on guard. That made me started like watching the fellas around me, because I had two crews at this point. But this crew was my main crew. This is the crew that I was going clubbing with. This is the crew that, you know what I'm saying, I preferred to hang out with or whatever like that because I knew them longer. But it put me on guard. It made me start watching more, and I started paying attention to the silent resentment that Bamas was having with me, dudes was having with me. And I'm like, bruh, I'm not the jokety joke dude. I'm not the money dude. I'm not the flashy dude. I'm the quiet dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm the quiet dude. I didn't even, at that point in my life, I didn't even know that I was going through depression or anxiety or anything like that, social anxiety. I just thought that I was a straight introvert. I thought I was a straight introvert and that, you know what I'm saying, I just, you know what I'm saying, was just, that was just me. But then I started noticing these situations more and I'm like, bruh, as I got older, I started saying it with different dudes outside of this crew, in different crews or whatever, with just dudes, period. And I'm like, bruh, am I doing something wrong? It got so bad that when the fellas that I knew had women, I wouldn't even hug them. I wouldn't hug them. I wouldn't have too much conversation with them or anything because I didn't want no situations where these niggas think that I was trying to holler at their girl. And it wasn't no probably. I know it was off-putting. It looked like I wasn't very pleasant. I wasn't approachable or anything like that because I'm like, bruh, I always looked at it like I didn't have to do a lot of work to get women anyway, but I wasn't pressed to go out of my way to get women because most of the time I was in a relationship anyway. I was never the type of person that was running around trying to run through girls anyway. That was majority most of the dudes that I hung with. But let me get back to the clip. Number 3.
As an attractive man, you'll be heavily misunderstood just by looks and the way that you carry yourself and assume all kind of stuff about you. They'll call you arrogant, cocky, weird. The whole time, you just a thinker. You just be chilling. You don't expend extra energy trying to convince women or anybody else to be in your space. A lot of people are run with the idea that they have of you versus actually coming to learn the reality of you. And that's why being that man is not all sunshine and rainbows. But as you navigate this journey more and more, you'll become something totally different. And I mean that in the best way possible. And I'm going to break that down in part 2. So y'all follow me there.
All right. Now number 3. And this even outside of just hanging with the fellas or dudes that I know and their girls or whatever. This shit happens to me even while I've been at work. Like I said, for the most part, I've always been because of me being guarded and dealing with depression and anxiety or whatever. I would naturally, I wouldn't even say naturally. Because of those things, I would come off as being quiet, introverted, and stuff like that. Very guarded. I've gone through so many instances where people would think me being quiet, like, why do you have a problem with me being quiet? Why do you have a problem with me being to myself? Why do you have a problem with me just being introverted? Like, why is that causing so much trouble for you? Like, whether it would be people thinking that I was better than them or I was like that or whatever. Like, pretty much it would be people projecting their insecurities onto me. And even when I came out with my blog and started being more vocal and vulnerable with me dealing with depression and anxiety, people still couldn't get around that. They looked at it like me being to myself, me being quiet or whatever the hell they was thinking. Because I couldn't figure it all out. All I knew was what I was going through. But they would look at it like who knows? But I'm just trying to come up with something. Whether they thought I was thinking that I was like that or I was arrogant or conceited or whatever. But most of the time, I'm just being to myself. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't even secure in myself enough to truly be myself, to be talkative, to be playful or whatever. And people still got an issue with it. And that's why I was like, when I started recording again with the last episode, with the 2 episodes ago with the villainary, like, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I might as well just be me. I might as well just be that nigga. Because I don't get it. Like, I never been trying to rock the boat. I never been trying to be, you know what I'm saying, in my circles with my people. I never was the one to try to rock the boat or to be too much or to start crap or anything like that. I just be minding my damn business. Like, it's been plenty of times. Like, all right, here's another example. Like, one of the fellas going out their way to ask a girl why she likes me. And then the girl coming back to me is like, you need to watch your friends because they coming to me asking me questions about you. And I wasn't even trying to holler at the girl. She was just an acquaintance. Somebody that I knew from one of my other boys. But this boy interpreted as she liked me and all this other stuff. Like, I've had so many instances where other women in the past have come to me saying they don't understand why I'm hanging out with this person, or you need to watch this dude or whatever because he coming to me doing this or trying to holler at me. And I'm like, bro, what the hell is going on? Like, am I purposely attracting this? I don't get it. Like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, just trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong, and I'm not even doing nothing wrong. This is just niggas projecting onto me. And I'm just like, maybe it's my insecurities making me be around other insecure people, and that is just coming full circle. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't understand it. Like, how does a person being to their self or being quiet bother you so much? Example from the workplace. I've been in plenty of situations where I'm in the workplace where me just coming to work, doing my work, minding my business is a problem for people. Whether it be because I'm doing my work, getting my work done, and you know what I'm saying, not socializing. I've always had the mindset of not that when I go to work that I'm going to do work first, and socializing may come after that. But it's always been an issue even at my jobs. I'm like, bruh, why does me not socializing with everybody have to be a problem? Am I getting the work done? We here for work, right? Am I getting the work done? So why does one job I previously had, the project manager, she would put on my performance appraisals that I, you know what I'm saying, do great work, all that good stuff, but I would come off as aloof. And when I first heard it, I'm like, I don't even know what aloof means. So I had to look it up. You know what I'm saying? I had to go back to how it was when I was a kid. When I had to find out what a word meant, I had to look it up. So I went and looked up the word aloof. So I figured out what the word aloof is. And I'm like, why does that matter? Like, you still can't say that I'm not getting the job done. And me getting the job done is just not solely me doing work by myself. I have to work with my coworkers. So if those projects are getting done, why do you have to put aloofness in my performance appraisal? It's like people take me being quiet and to myself or introverted or whatever personally. And I've had instances even where male coworkers were silently competing with me. And it wasn't hard to tell because I've gone through it so much in my life that most recently I can see it when we be in meetings where I would go first in the meeting where I would say what projects I'm working on, what I finish and all that other stuff. And then you get to the other person and they over embellish what they've done and everything. And I'm sitting here like, well, I know what projects you working on and what you've done and what you finished. And it wasn't that deep. Like, it's just, it's so damn tiresome. It's draining. It's annoying as hell because I'm just like, bruh, I'm damned if I do, damned if. That's why I was just like, I just need to be in my villain era. I don't care no more. I don't care no more. So I'm going to give you exactly what you think that I am. You know what I'm saying? I might as well. I just need to just be me. I just need to just push through that the insecurities that I've had or the insecurities I'm still dealing with, and just, you know what I'm saying, just give you everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. But I just came across that clip and I was just like, bruh, this shit, it just can't be real. But moving on. So the Epstein stuff has been really amping up lately with on the news or whatever. So they've came out and said that there isn't no client list and all that other stuff. And like I've talked about it plenty of times before. I'm a conspiracy theorist, to a degree, and it's just like, come on now, you can't keep just playing this. If there isn't no client list, why the hell is Ghislaine Maxwell still in jail for putting all this stuff together? She was basically his right hand man with putting all the documentaries that came out and all that other stuff. So it's just like, come on, bro. But majority of the people is not gonna fight about it. You may have some talk and stuff like that, and it's just gonna fly right on by. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be news for a couple of days, and then it's just gonna fly right. But come on now, it's just clearly that something is going on. Something went on. Something has gone on. Something still is going on, and people are trying to protect themselves. And this is what we get. This is what we get for us being so caught up into everything else but these people that are running the country. And this is what happens when we sit here and is so focused on choosing sides, whether it be Democrat or Republican. I'll say it like I always said, I'm not a Democrat anymore. I'm a independent because they both doing the same damn thing. It's a bird with two wings, with left side, right side, Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat. It's just they just playing the game. This is all political theater. But what annoys me about all of this when it comes to the politics or whatever, I just feel like so many people are being disingenuous with all of this. You know what I'm saying? I'll say it again. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am a registered independent. And I have no allegiance to either one of those sides no more. No more. Because it's all BS. It's political theater. But like I said, I feel like people are being very disingenuous when it comes to Trump being in office right now. As if I ain't a supporter of Trump. I think a lot of the stuff he does is goofy. A lot of the stuff he's doing is not right for America. But it's a lot of people out here that claim to be Democrats or just, let's just be real. They don't like Trump. They hate Trump. Whether it be from their own personal feelings or opinions or what they've programmed to think of Trump. But people are being very disingenuous with this Trump stuff. Because when from my independent eyes, my critical thinking eyes and ears, I'm just like, this ain't no different from when Biden was just in office and he could barely talk. He could barely come up with a complete sentence at times. He can have a cognitive thought. But now everybody's so focused on Trump. And this is why we will continue to be in these same situations when it comes to politics, because people aren't being genuine with their thinking, with their commentary. They not being genuine. They not. Because just over the past couple of days, you've seen a lot of people from the Biden administration pleading the fifth. His doctor plead the fifth on Biden's cognitive, his mental stability, his health. Most recently, I think the past day or two, you had a couple of other people that was part of the Biden administration pleading the fifth on things that was going on with the administration. You had his press secretary a while ago. She just completely just said that she's not a Democrat anymore. She's an independent. You've had the news come out about Biden when he was giving out them pardons that he was using the auto pen. So this is what I'm talking about. People are so wrapped up into narratives, propaganda, or just hate in general that they aren't being genuine about nothing when it comes to these politics. Like, you can notice everything Trump is doing wrong, but you ain't notice nothing that Biden was doing wrong, or the comedy show that was over there with the Biden administration, but you can notice everything with the Trump administration. It's not making sense, and that's just so disingenuous, man. And that's why we will continue to keep going through the same crap. We would just keep seesawing with this situation. Once Trump finished with his 4 years, then maybe we'll go back to a Democratic president because everybody is so tired of what Trump did to the country or whatever propaganda is being pushed in. Then we'll go to a Democrat president, deal with the stuff that we've used to dealing with the Democratic side, and then we'll seesaw back over to the Republican. Maybe not, maybe, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that bad with the Democratic side, so we'll stay over there for another 4 years. And then after that, then we just so tired of the Democratic side, then we'll jump back over to the Republican side, just straight seesaw. It's just people, majority of the people that sit here on social media talking about Trump, talking about Biden, whatever side they on, it's just was I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like, what's the newest flavor? What's the newest take? What's the newest commentary? What's new with this? Because it's just not genuine. It's just straight up BS. Straight up BS. Straight up BS. Oh man. I really think I really just feel like I just want to end now because it's just, let me see what else is on the on my makeshift topic list. So I went through the Diddy trial. I did the Kier Gaines mental health joint. I talked about Trump a little bit. I did the dark side of being an attractive man. I had on here AI is learning. Let me see if I can find that post. AI is learning. But this is what I talked about already. Like, the way things are going with this AI stuff, and I noticed it even more. I've come across a lot of situations where a lot of humans are using AI for work, for resumes, for content, whatever. And this is really getting to the point where there's going to be no authenticity, no imperfections, no uniqueness ever again. Like, we've already started that to a degree. Like, just from my point of view, like, in the black quote unquote community culture or whatever, you got the chicks with the BBLs, you got them with the baby hairs. Every chick got the same wig, baby hairs, burp number 5 or 6, BBLs, whatever. Burp number 7 or 8. You got the dudes out here getting the fake abs, the fake calves. Just people are losing their minds. People are losing their minds, and they're integrating the loss of their minds into AI, into robotics. Like, so much so that we got to really go back and start watching Terminator, The Matrix, iRobot, all that stuff, because people are just losing their authenticity, their uniqueness. AI is becoming the big thing now. You know what I'm saying? AI is learning. And I need to find this post. I got to find this post because it was something really specific about this post that really caught my eye. Let me see. I gotta find it. I gotta find it. Okay, here it go. Right here. It says, breaking. AI is learning to lie, scheme, and threaten its creators during stress testing scenarios. And even Elon Musk had to reconfigure or do something with his Grok AI system that is exclusive on Twitter, because it started tripping. I don't know exactly what it was doing. I can't remember. But just this post right here where it's saying that AI is learning to lie, scheme, and threaten its creators during stress testing scenarios, that shows you right there, this is classic Terminator shit right here. Like, if you not of my age in my age bracket and you don't know Terminator, watch Terminator. Like this, we really at the point of stuff coming true that we've seen in the movies. That's why I always say people think movies is just entertainment. It ain't. This a lot of the stuff is forewarning us, and a lot of it is really telling us the truth. Because a lot of movie studios have government affairs departments. Like I recently saw that Sony, their government affairs, they was hiring for their government affairs department. Like it came up on my LinkedIn. Sony's government affairs department came up on my LinkedIn. They was hiring. And that made me start thinking and researching a little bit. A lot of movie studios, the major movie studios have government affairs departments. So that's why I always say, like, a lot of that stuff we see in movies, that shit is true. Ain't nobody that creative to come up with some of the things that be in these movies. I'm sorry. But that shows you right there, like, humans are creating this AI. So if the AI is learning to lie, scheme, and threaten, where are they getting that from? They getting that from their creators. That's no different than, I hate to say it, that's no different from you thinking about slaves and the slaves and oppressed people, which are the black Americans in America, the things that we've picked up from our quote unquote captors or our quote unquote masters. It ain't no different. Shit ain't no different. Like, people, I don't think people realize that the human body is a walking computer. Like, the way that they construct computers, the way that they construct engines and stuff like that, it is based off of the model of the human being. Bruh, we are going downhill, man. We are going downhill. And I'm gonna just go ahead and end this episode right now because for one, I ain't really have an outline put together, and I pretty much gone through the topic list that I had, the topics that I had on my makeshift outline, and I don't want to keep scrolling through my topics on my phone and just be all scattered. So I'm just gonna end this right here. We got a good little show in. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, all the new subscribers, the followers, all that good stuff. Holla at me, shout me out, share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Taste to Consider Network on Instagram. Taste Reviews Drink Edition. I did the Beyonce review. I just did another review for a black-owned bourbon whiskey. It's a nice little surprise, a nice little review. Nice whiskey is one of my favorites so far in my 3 years of doing the taste reviews and just in period of my bourbon whiskey journey. So make sure you check that out. This has been a Taste to Consider podcast. I'm your host, Derek Silver, and I'm out.